Two, one. Hello, we are the Golden Order, and our project on modern media versus the Middle Ages has to revolve around Elden. So, this is Bell the Dread by from Elden Ring. It's one of the soundtracks found in the new DLC. And let's give it a little listen. Okay, so let's skip to the second phase so you can also hear that.
Yeah, so
Nice.
that's a little bit from that one, and a little bit like backstory on Bale the Dread. So he's a dragon, all right, and I think his like right or left wing is like completely like torn off because he got in a fight with another dragon in the game, and it's kind of he kind of uses it as a pokey thing, and then you hear in the music in the beginning, like some of his like stabs and jabs, like they'll literally line up with everything that's going on. I think he's also missing like a leg or something. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I played, but then when he goes into his second phase, he like gets shrouded in lightning, and I feel like the music it kind of really gets that into picture because when he gets covered in that lightning, he gets a wing back, and then I think he gets one of his limbs back as well, and he just starts flying.
You can hear more voices
Yeah,
being added into it, more energy being added into the piece as well. It already has energy, but you can hear even more going.
To
So,
add to add to that, I actually watched a couple videos and did research analyzing the score of that piece. And in the second phase and in the first phase, there is a lot of minor seconds going on in the violin, so that was also adding tension with the thunder that you were saying.
there.
A lot of the big percussion drops line up with all the slashes in the battle. But yeah, excited.
so before you go on, let's talk a little bit about why we
Oh,
chose this
yeah.
piece. So originally when we chose this piece, there are voices that sing within several songs within Elden Ring. However, when doing some research and trying to figure out what they were actually saying, we found out that the composer had actually made his own Latin-ish language to sound like Latin, but not actually have any lyrics. So that did complicate things for us a little bit, but then we realized that there are still things being taken from like the Middle Ages that you can be seeing, and not just is the music have aspects of it, but everywhere in the game itself looks as if it was part of the Middle Ages. Would you guys like to add on?
No, no, I forgot
Or
what I said.
like instrumentation
Yeah, I
or
was about to say, whenever you play the game and stuff, you can sometimes see in the environment or just in general, like with all of the stuff that's going on, like you see instruments that like they're like lyres and stuff like that. You see them. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, like that kind of guitar. Like you really see it. I think in one of the intros or for like when the game it's like really heavy with that instrument, and then you can really tell. And then also just the way like the game is designed, like with costumes and stuff, you really see. like how representation of like the Middle Ages it is. And like not just from like Hollywood aspect, yes, like you can tell, but also you can tell they did some of their homework and that like it's pretty good.
All right, let's continue. Oh, all right, my bad. There we go. Well, would any of you guys like to read this one?
This next piece, forgive my pronunciation, it's La Messa de Nostre. It's another Gregorian chant piece from the Middle Ages, and let's take a little listen to this.
So this piece is very polyphonic, where a lot of the voices have meaning and they add to each other. Something that I noticed in this piece, similar to the Veil the Dread piece, is that uh, while they are all equally important and going on at the same time, they still, in a sense, support each other and harmonize well. Um, which you can see a lot happens in Bale. There were so many voices at the same time where it's kind of hard to tell who is important, who's the most important at the point, but there's a lot. They're all important.
Yeah, to add on to that, you kind of hear in this one, like you feel the calm response, and then they kind of all come together and make that kind of like deep chord. And the Bell of the Dread one, you really hear that a lot, where all these parts are playing, and then they're playing more, and then it'll be like a strong, powerful chord, like in that. Yeah.
Yeah, similarly, there's in the orchestration of Build a Dread, there is a lot of like perfect octave cadences, but in the minor mode, it's in C minor mostly, and it switches to A minor. And there are points in time where the violins have that minor seconds that I was talking to you about. There's times whenever the brass has a little solo section where violin two has a solo section, but all parts are equally as important and we're all playing at the same time. And it kind of lines up with this because all the different parts have their own important pieces. Excellent.
Would you like to give a little fun fact?
Oh yeah, the fun fact, this piece is actually one of the earliest complete settings for a church by a single composer. So usually different songs will be written by a bunch of different people or the composer will be lost in time. But this is one of the first pieces to actually have a single composer and be used during church mass. All right. This next piece is another Gregorian chant piece. Let's give it a listen.
So this song is pretty important because while yes, there's a lot going on in the Veil piece. If you section things up, you can in the second phase where you hear the singer start to come out, um, it's very similar in the way that it's being sung in the sense that you can hear the canon, is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you have the single note just holding out sustaining while there's another one singing this really shines in both pieces.
Yeah, I was also about to say, honestly, where this video is taking place, you can actually see like kind of a cathedral, and when you play the game throughout, you really see a lot of that just scattered across the map. And not to go off on too much of a tangent, but like literally, like you find like it's pretty like a popular character, like the Pope Turtle. I don't know
Yeah.
his name, but he's literally in one of those, but just ruins, like ruins. And then all across, like you'll find like there's these bosses called the Godskin Apostles, and they're literally in cathedrals exactly like that.
Uh, but to wrap things up, um, to wrap things up, the past and the present, while there is major obvious differences, sectioning it up and really listening to each part, you can hear the similarities being pulled between each other. You guys like that?
Yeah, like obviously it has been more amped up to kind of give the better feel for the boss fight. Like as you can see right there, like that's Bale the Dread, the like literally in the name. But like it's just more amped up. But once you section it off, like Carl was saying, like you can see the similarities are like pretty close.
Yeah. Whenever you, adding on to what you said, whenever you really analyze the soundtrack to Bill the Dread's boss music, there are a lot of similarities. Like there is the vocals in the second phase, and a lot of minor modes and a bunch of stuff that they used in the Middle Ages embedded inside the first phase as well. Yeah.
Thank you.